What's up fam, we're back with the 23rd patch of the year. We've got a couple of notable updates and champions being reworked. Let's get right into it. Starting off with champions of minor changes, Azir Sand Soldier's AP ratio has been increased, Master Yi's bonus AS on his ults will increase, Miss Fortune's Q mana cost will now be fixed at 40, the early cooldown of Rammus's Q will be buffed. Caitlyn's bonus AD ratio on her ults will decrease by 50%. Shyvana's growth MR and her E skill's AP ratio will be nerfed. Skarner's Q skill's bonus HP ratio will reduce by 1%. Captain Teemo's bonus damage to jungle monsters from his E skill will be nerfed. Zack's Q skill's max HP ratio will be reduced by 1%. Been quite some time since we had this one on our patch note. Rengar's post-ults bonus attack damage's total AD ratio and the armor penetration on his ults will be buffed. However, his rival Kha'Zix gets a nerf, his base armor will reduce by 4 and the slow effect of his evolved W on isolated enemies gets reduced by 15%. AP Kakma has been hitting the charts, but he gets nerfed with his armor and MR reduction from his Q skill and base damage and AP ratio nerf on his ults. Tahm Kench gets a passive bonus damage nerf and the AP ratio on his ult's shield amount has been nerfed by 50%. Ambessa gets a QOL patch. The time window between her Q1 and Q2 has increased, and her ult now allows movement commands to be processed after slamming down an enemy. Additionally, she can no longer cross over player-created walls, such as Anivia's W or J4's ults. Jinx's growth AD will be buffed, but gets balanced with a total AD ratio nerf on her W. Aurora will be reworked. Her bonus movement speed from her passive will be removed. Q skill's damage and range has been buffed, but its cooldown will increase, and Q2 now automatically triggers when the duration ends. Her W now grants a bonus movement speed for 4 seconds. Her E skill's range will be buffed, her ult's duration will be increased, but enemies can now cross the border but receives a 75% slow effect. Aurora gains the same movement speed within the area as that when she uses her W. Next, Rell's rework. Her base mana, armor, MR, and base MS will be nerfed but gets compensated with increased growth AS and a base attack motion improvement. Her passive now deals bonus damage based on 5% of her total resist stats, and the minimum resistance seal will increase. Her stun duration on her Q skill will be nerfed. Her W now grants 3% more bonus resistance when dismounting and no longer gets slowed. However, bonus AS gets reduced by 10% and both W1 and W2 now have reduced CC duration. W is now affected by tenacity and her movement speed while mounted scales with skill level. Her E skill's base damage will be removed, but its max HP ratio will increase, MS boost will be fixed at 10%, and the MS boost when moving toward enemies will also be fixed at 25%. Looks complicated, but it does seem like an overall nerf. Smolder will also be reworked. His Q's base damage has increased and his total AD ratio changes to bonus AD ratio, and his bonus damage scales at 30% of his stacks. Second tier Q splash damage will reduce by 25%, and the bonus AD ratio on the final tier true damage will be buffed, but its AP ratio has been removed and its stack ratio has been nerfed. It will no longer deal bonus damage to minions, but returns 15 mana when killing an enemy with his Q skill. His W damage will be increased, its mana cost adjusted so that he gets buffed early game but nerfed late game. The base damage on Flap Flap will be reduced but gets an increased bonus AD ratio. It will now grant another tick for every 100 stacks instead of 150, while stack-based bonus damage gets reduced by 10%. And his ult's cooldown will be fixed at 2 minutes across all levels, but it deals only half the damage to minions. Finally, item changes. Yuntal's cost will be 100 gold cheaper with increased passive duration and reduced cooldown. Yomu will be nerfed for ranged champions. The MS boost will be halved when out of combat and effect duration will be reduced to 4 seconds. Collector's cost will be increased slightly. We've got a small change to the bounty system. The bounty now increases faster upon kills and assists. When the champion on a disadvantaged team has an active bounty, it will disappear much faster. There's no changes for runes, so I think that's where we'll wrap this up. I'll see you guys in the next patch note.